All right, here's a Ford 2000 van, an E150 with a 6-cylinder in it. Well, we're just talking about the P0171 lean condition code. Okay, when you have a lean condition code, what it means is that it's getting air into the system, into the exhaust system that affects the oxygen sensor. Okay, because the computer usually runs on its own. It sucks in the air from the air filter into the throttle body, and then the computer adjusts it whether you need gas or air according to the oxygen sensor. Okay, if the oxygen sensor senses that it has too much air, not enough fuel, it's going to tell the computer, hey, give me more fuel. If it's the opposite and it's too much fuel, then you have to mix it up with air. It's going to have to try to get air. Okay, the air is only one way. You can't add air. You can only add fuel. Okay, so the air is set through the air filter, through the throttle body, and that's it. But if it's telling you that you have a lean condition, that means it has too much air, or it has more air than it could handle. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to find where the air leak is. Now on the older cars here like this, if you have an exhaust leak like this, I'm going to start it for you. Okay, that's a good sign. That's a good sign right there. That tells you got an air leak. So what happens is that this one here is leaking at the exhaust flange. Let me show you. I'm going to bring you around. Okay, it's at the exhaust flange. So as the exhaust is coming out and going through the cat converter, it's also leaking. And because it's leaking, it's going to draw some air in at the same time. So right here is leaking at that flange right there. That seal or that donut, or some cars don't even have a donut. It's just got 2 bolts and it holds it up just like that. Okay, on this one, the nut is rotted. So there's the O2 sensor right there. Let me see if I can show it to you. A lot of sun glare here today, guys. If you look up in there, you're going to notice that there is no nut. The nut is barely there. It's just rotted away. So because of that, what happened is that the flange and the pipe kind of came out a little bit. So it gives a little bit of a exhaust leak. So what we're going to do is we're going to fugazi something over here, because that nut up there is still there, but it's still rotted. I hate to touch anything like that that's kind of like rotted like that, because it just creates more problems and it'll break even more. And then you'll be really in trouble. So I'm just going to put a little washer in there, or maybe a nut to catch a little bit, and just tighten it up a little bit, and hopefully this exhaust noise will go away. But like I said, the exhaust has a leak, so air is getting into the pipes, and then it's getting more air than it's supposed to have, and that's why the computer's adding more fuel to it. And usually when that happens, you end up eating up a lot more gas, because the computer is trying to add fuel to the amount of air that you have to get that 14.7 ratio. That's supposed to be the best ratio that there is. So a sensor is doing its job. It's sensing. It's telling you that it's too much air, not enough fuel. So like that, you're going to get a lot of bad gas mileage, because the fuel, the computer's adding more fuel to the fire. All right. If you think about it, you could think about it as a powdered iced tea. Okay, if you put another cup of powdered iced tea in your gallon, it's going to be very tart, very sweet, and very disgusting, because you didn't put enough water. So the water would be your air, okay, and the iced tea powdered would be your gas. And it's the other way around. If you have too much air, or you have too much water, then the iced tea is going to taste very watery, like it's nothing. So now you need to add more powdered iced tea. So that's where you put your gas in there. All right. So yeah, that's one of the things that you have to look for, listen for, and look for is a exhaust leak. It could be from the flange, it could be from the exhaust manifold gasket, it could be from the exhaust manifold itself. On some cars, you can actually see them cracked. Okay, so when it's cracked, even though it's an exhaust leak coming out, when the exhaust comes out at a high RPM, what's going to happen is going to grab the air that's around it and suck it right in. Even though you think that it's exhaust leak pushing out, you'd be surprised how much really goes back in when it's coming out. Okay, when it's going down, traveling to your cat and the exhaust, just the volume going this way is going to draw fresh air in, and that's why you get a lean condition. All right, but don't forget, check the other stuff too. All right, anything that has to do with air. Some cars, like a BMW, has to have a sealed CCV system, so it can suck in air from like a valve cover gasket and stuff like that, and that'll be air introduced into the engine. All right, so that's that here. We're going to try to tighten that up and cross our fingers. Thanks for watching. Ciao. All right, it's going to have to go to a muffler shop. I'm going to have to burn out those two studs, but yeah, the leak is right here. You can feel it. So I'm going to put this paper towel here and see if you can see that it's blowing away. See it? Okay, it's leaking out of there. All right, thanks again. Ciao.